So with that, let me begin with a greeting. Da Jia Hao and welcome. I am Jim Mockford, Board President of the Northwest China Council, and helping coordinate and produce this event today is John Wang, our Executive Director. Thank you, John. The Northwest China Council is an educational nonprofit based in Portland, Oregon, formed in 1980 with a grant from the Asia Society in New York to promote greater cultural understanding between the United States and China. So we have over 4 decades of in-person programming and about 3 years experience in virtual programming and some hybrid events, most recently in partnership with the Milwaukee Historical Society, the City of Milwaukee, the Leading Library, and Willamette Falls Studios to bring a program to the public on Chinese immigrants, contributions, and exclusion that brought to light the story of Ah Bing, the inventor of the Bing cherry. And so that began our look into the story of cherries in general. And we found that there's quite a history here in Oregon that is now being shared through our YouTube recording of that program. But also the following week, the City of Milwaukee held an open house at a new city hall to reveal a painting of murals about Ah Bing, the cherry, and the whole horticultural history of the city. So if you're able to visit the new city hall in Milwaukee during business hours, I invite you to check out this delightful new art and learn the story of the cherry business that began in Milwaukee, Oregon, and spread throughout the Pacific Northwest. Today, we are delighted to learn about the present-day cherry business in the Pacific Northwest, thanks to Keith Hu, our guest speaker and Director of International Operations at Northwest Cherry Growers. You may have read about Keith in our fall newsletter or the calendar in the Asian Reporter newspaper or social media posts from our community friends, such as Portland Chinatown Museum. So I want to thank those that made this program known to our area. And I want to thank Teresa Yoshioka from the Oregon State Department of Agriculture for introducing us to Keith. Now, Keith, I'll get to just one moment more. I won't have a lengthy bio, but you and I both attended University of Washington. And I have to say, you did that a few years after I did. I was on hand for the famous Rose Bowl of 1978 with Don James beating Michigan 27-20. I was there in the Rose Bowl as a very young person cheering on the Huskies, which will be to some dismay to my University of Oregon friends where I did my undergraduate work. But I'm a true Northwesterner, so I went to both Oregon and Washington. And I am saying this as a segue to note that there was once a Cherry Bowl, a football game at the Silver Dome in Pontiac, Michigan for 2 years, 1984 and 85. And the inaugural game drew 70,000 attendees to see Army versus Michigan State. This is noteworthy because it was the Army's first ever bowl game appearance. And of course, we're celebrating Veterans Day very shortly. So you should know the Army played in a Cherry Bowl that after about 2 years was not able to continue operation. But we do know how things change in football today as our own Pac-12 is changing. So perhaps there'll be a chance for a Cherry Bowl to come back to life sometime in the future. Anyway, with that, I'll let you go ahead and tell the viewers about that part of your bio that you may want to share, because you do have a very interesting background prior to Northwest Cherry Growers, and you certainly have been busy. Or was it 17 years now at Northwest Cherry Growers?
Yeah.
Yeah, and so with that, I'll let you take away the story and tell us about the business of cherries and Asia.
Thank you, Jim. It's a great pleasure to be here. Wow, you're a Husky also, huh? Nice. How can yes, I've been at the U.S. and Northwest cherry grower industry for 17 years now, and I was an immigrant from Taiwan, Taipei, and attended high school in Bellevue, Washington, and then continued my undergrad at UW, and I never did finish my MBA from U Washington either. I just got work. I was prior to this job, I was at Hasbro. Work got too busy, and I was traveling internationally, and couldn't really finish it. Yeah, but hey, that's before. But now, so in 2006, the cherry industry they realized that the crop size increased dramatically. So when I first joined the sweet cherry, the Northwest cherry industry, which includes Washington State, Oregon, Montana, Utah, and Idaho. Washington's about 90% of them production. Oregon's about 5 or 6%, and then you have the rest of 3 states and made up the rest, the remaining. So since 2006, the production has tripled from 80,000 tons to today's about 230,000 tons of sweet cherries. U.S. is the predominant market for the industry. So we try to keep 70% of products in the United States, and then we will export 30% of that product outside of the United States. So start including some of my top markets are Canada, China, South Korea, Taiwan, Mexico, Vietnam, Japan. It has been an exciting 17 years for me, and I got to meet with a lot of growers, different cultures completely. Than the days I was at Hasbro. So today, what I'm going to do is, since we're talking about being, and most of I'm pretty sure most of consumers have heard the Bing cherries. And I did not know the story of Bing cherries either until I got into the industry. So that's it. I'm going to share a slide with you. So, come on. All right. So I'll give you a quick view of the sweet cherry industry in the United States. So right here is a slide of a 5-year comparison of varieties. Since we're talking about the Bing cherries, you can see the left-hand side is the original. Some people call it original cherries. The Bing variety. Bing used to be the #1 variety. However, the volume has declined in the recent years just because there are newer variety coming out of later season varieties that harvest in August. Bing tend to harvest in late last week of June, all the way, and depends on the elevation, probably goes to middle of July. But now you have these new variety like the ski nuts, sweethearts, the lapins, those harvest in from late July, middle of July, all the way till the end of August. However, the Bing variety cherries is still the benchmark for any new variety of cherries. I spoke to scientists from Washington State University, Oregon State University. They're trying to mimic a cherry that can be harvested later in the years, but with the same character as beans. The beans characters tend to be very firm, crunchy, and has a high sugar content. So yeah, so bean is still the benchmark these days. And when it comes to export markets, beans by far is their #1 choice. All the export buyers, they prefer beans just because the texture is firm and it can travel as well. So there, bean. So here's just another. That chart. This chart does not include 2023. I just got the 2023 breakdown this year. So as you can see again, bean is #3 now. However, a lot of time the industry it's required for industry to label the variety of cherries on the boxes. So a lot of time nowadays, a lot of retail buyers or importers, they start to be very choosy on what they want to buy. They want to see bean, they want to see ski nuts, and when they see other variety, they tend to shy it away. They don't really buy them. So what happens is that the industry start to put in the dark sweet variety, which there isn't a variety called dark sweet. It's just so they can hide the true identity of the variety of cherries they put in the box. So being still probably still number 2 or number 3 or number 4 because depends on the year. And so since I handle the export business development for the Northwest cherry growers, so I'm going to touch on a lot more on the export markets. As I mentioned earlier, outside of North America, China is the number 1 market. We started developing the Chinese market in 2006, and same as Korea. I mean, I started developing those 2 markets in 2006. China surpassed that was my milestone. Surpassed the Canadians' volume in 2017. China was a bigger market than Canada was in 2017. You can see that these 2 charts, where for 2017 where China peaked, and if you look at the right, where Canada had its lowest point. And then, unfortunately, 2018, that's when the trade war started. So from a 10% tariff import duty in 2017, by 2018, the industry was looking at 55% duty. And today, it has been reduced to 25%. There's still impact the movement of cherries into China. So nobody really know what will happen. But I was talking to my counterparts and my key clients in China this past September. I went out there to visit them this September, and the potential of cherries, sweet cherries, it's still very, very, very strong. Although I did see what we see in the media these days, how the economy is not doing well, and how the economy has started to soften in China, which yes, that's very true. But I think in general, the middle class, upper middle class people, they're still buying. They're still eat out, still buy luxury goods, although the way that they spend money is no longer like before. I mean, when they don't even think twice. Now they probably will think twice before they make that big purchase. And a lot of I hear a lot of consumer talk about the CP value, cash price value. So they want to make sure that they get the value that the money that they spend receive the value that whatever they initially set up. So here's just a different chart showing the growth of the Chinese market. So 2005, this is the total percentage of total export. So just remind you, we try to make the export market as a total export market is 30% of total production. So this is all of the, so in 2017, China was 35% of the 30%, which is the best ever. Now, since the tariff, we have lost about 2/3 of the business in China. So we're hobbling, in volume-wise, we're hobbling about around 1.1 million boxes in 2017. The whole industry shipped about 3.3 million boxes, 20-pound equivalent. So, this is another look of the importance of the Chinese market. This is the percentage of the export market. So 2023 was only 6% of the total export volume. 19 was 8, and Canada continued to hover around 11 in the low 10s. But one market that I'm focusing on very closely these days is the Vietnamese market and the Mexican markets. And I think the Vietnamese market if the Vietnamese economy benefit greatly from the trade war between U.S. and China, or between the whole Western world and China. I go to Vietnam about 2-3 times a year. and seeing the expansion of the basic infrastructure of highway, airports, cold chains, apartment being built, factories being built. I have friends who live in Taiwan, whose family has been in the OEM shoe OEM business for the top for Nike and Adidas. Even when I was going to university in the early 90s, and their families are really looking at Vietnam. So now they have, I think they have more factories in Vietnam now than in China. So the focus have definitely shifted to Vietnam for light industrial manufacturing. So that's it. China. There are definitely cherries in China, and predominantly grown in the Liaoning province, Shandong province, and the Shanxi province. Depends on the data, the research that we get. Turkey, by far, is the largest sweet cherry producing country. Number two, we're not sure. Could be China, or could be Chile. But if you put it together, if we put the European Union as a whole, yeah, I believe the European Union as a whole is the biggest. It's bigger than China or Chile. But I have gone to Shandong and Liaoning province to see the Chinese cherry orchards and their technologies, harvesting technologies. They're still behind the Western producing countries, but the volume, it's the amount of the acreage that I saw, it's impressive. It's very, very impressive. So yeah, so the cherry production in China is either number 2 in the world or number 2 in the world, depends which data you see. We are US, if you including California. We think we're number 4 now. Well, I don't know where this Russia come from, but we're chill. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see how big Chile will get in the coming years, because they are a one market industry. Chile this year, I was told, they will probably produce 400,000 tons of cherries. The whole United States only produce about at its peak, we only produce about 220,000 tons, 230,000 tons. Chile is going to produce 400,000 tons, and every year, 95 to 98% of that the cherries goes to China. Just because they have the advantage that they have the Chinese New Year, and we all know what Chinese New Year can do to any product. I mean, consumers, they will just shop, and cherries is such a unique product that it's red, and Chinese look red, and during Chinese New Year, and trading anything red colors will bring good health, prosperity, and all that. So it's a great product. So Chilean industry, they have their benefit from that, and it's not something that I wish I have, but well. So my job include searching out potential markets for the industry, and I call myself a bridge builder. So I get the potential qualified buyers, connect with the industry, and also I put in different kind of marketing campaign in places, trying to drive cherry sales and cherry awareness and brand awareness, especially the USA Northwest Cherry brand, which you can see pretty much everywhere on the advertisement that the industry produces, or I produce, my team produces. So everything that you see right here, these 3 are just some sample that I took from China. This one on this is a very common to do taste samplings is because we have done researches in all markets. Cherries is an impulse buy for most consumers, close to 70% of them. They don't plan ahead. Oh, I want to buy cherries today, but they typically buy cherries when they see it in the stores. This right here is I've been focusing on e-commerce and digital marketing even before the pandemic, but the pandemic really sped up the whole process. So that's we have switched our focus heavily to digital marketing nowadays. But of course, there's still there's still room for the traditional marketing campaigns too. So this is my proud moment. This is 2013 and 2014. If you guys don't know who these people are, go back up. He used to be the governor of Washington State, Governor Gary Locke. Then he became ambassador to China, Ambassador Locke. And him right here, he is soon to stepping down as the CEO of Alibaba Group, Daniel. And this is his right-hand man. But this is before he was the CEO of Alibaba Group. And this guy was the CEO of Alibaba Group in 2013, 2014. He was the CEO of one of Alibaba's subsidiary, Tmall. So we were doing campaigns with Alibaba. Tmall, we got Ambassador Locke to agree to promote cherries for us. This is actually in Sam's Club. Walmart, China. So he was selling Northwest cherries for the industry, and together with Alibaba's Tmall, we ran campaign 2 years, 48 hours from orchard to your to your door, which we were able to do that. How did we do it? I was able to get China Eastern Airline Cargo Division to work with us. So we had, since 2013, we had charter flights out of China. Depends on the season. I mean, we have at least 4 or 5 charter flights a week, and this charter flight has 110 tons of lift. So we typically pack it up to about 85 tons of cherries, and straight from Seattle to Shanghai. And this is one of our Cherry Express. You can see we have the logo here. We have the cherries, and there's I call it the Mick Jagger like lip. It was the China Cargo's idea. I don't know why they want that Mick Jagger's lip. So yeah, 98% of cherries are shipped by air to around the world. So yeah, so that's my short presentation on cherries. And again, it was fascinating to learn the story of our bean and the bean cherries, and it's still the benchmark for all cherries these days. So yeah.
Well, thank you so much. It took me a second to unmute there, and we'll wait a minute for some questions. But that was fascinating. I knew about Cherry Express, but I didn't know about the markings. And I think I should let you know that the city of Milwaukee is planning to do some really fun stuff with cherries. They have a grant to create a cherry sculpture that will go in the sculpture garden at the old city hall. I mentioned the new city hall earlier. The old city hall is an old fire station that will become something like a brew pub and pizza parlor.
Oh, wow.
The community building, and the outside of that building has a little garden area where there's some sculptures presently located, and the new sculpture will be installed in the sculpture garden there, a sculpture of the Bing cherry. But on top of that, they plan to bring in the new year with an LED cherry drop from a crane, sort of like the New York City ball drop.
Oh, okay.
Ball drop the cherry at 9 p.m. on New Year's Eve in Milwaukee City Square, with some festivities that they'll start to announce fairly soon after the Arts Committee meets next week, to bring some more attention to the city of Milwaukee. And I guess they might have to add some Mick Jagger to their repertoire because they're planning music and things like that. So I'll let that committee know about the Cherry Express markings. That'll be great fun. The things that they're doing, are going to put Milwaukee on the map. So when you do have any visitors coming to Oregon, you might mention some of these things, so they'll know about it. Uh, it might make a great stop on the way to visit a cherry orchard. I'm looking for any questions now in the chat line. It looks like you answered some that had been asked in your comments. I knew about the cherry business in Chile as a hugely growing area in recent years. Um, but and it's great for them that they have the summer season coming soon to match up with Chinese New Year. They don't directly compete because it's a different season, right?
Yeah, the opposite season. So as I mentioned earlier, our industry, we charter airplanes, right? Those guys in Chile, they charter boats.
Oh,
So they will have Cherry Express boat. So we're talking 2,000 to 3,000 40-foot containers on each boat.
wow.
Yeah, that's a
So we always think of cherry season for us as, a late summer sort of thing. Uh, but now in China, it looks like it's a winter event because of the cherries from Chile.
yeah, it's definitely different. It's just because the holiday season that they have over there. And so if the only holiday season that we could hit if the lunar calendar is matches with the Western calendar is the autumn festival. But for the past few years, it has been very late. It has been in September. I remember there a couple years at the Lunar's Autumn Festival was at the beginning of September, so we were able to hit those. But anything after the middle of September that we want, the industry is too far back, too late for us to do anything. So
I have a question from someone in the audience that asks you, how much are Northwest cherry sales domestically compared to export?
I can use let's just use the best year the biggest crop year that we have, 2017. The 2017 estimated FOB price factory plant, it was just over $1 billion. So that year the U.S. Market share was about 67%. So you have then 33% of that was overseas. So you're $230 million, give and take. And export cherries, I mean, if you break it down even further, you will see average FOB price is higher on export products compared to domestic products. It's because the export markets, they tend to buy the bigger cherries, the premium cherries we call it, and compared to the domestic retailers. And it's no different than any other export items. And we all like beef. We always shipped some that are top 1% beef into overseas market, and then the rest of the 99% stays domestically. So.
I have a question from Teresa Yoshioka who asks, first of all, thank you, Keith.
Yeah.
And she mentions it's impressive that you had a cherry promotion with Tmall like 10 years ago. Do you still see the impact of that promotion?
Yes, because here's the story of Tmall. Just because in 2013, when I reached out to then Ambassador Locke, so I want to do a promotion on that. And Tmall was also in contact with U.S. Embassy over there because they knew in 2014 they want to go IPO in United States. So they need to build up their fresh business. I mean, back then, Alibaba was very strong already on dry goods, right? They were weak on fresh goods. So and by then the Northwest Cherry brand is already somewhat established in the first tier cities. So they just happened. And I was talking to the embassy. They were talking to the embassy, and then like, hey, let's. So we got together to see if we can help each other. So working with Alibaba, that really helped the cherry industry to reach the next level. Well, we'll come e-commerce. So I mean, in 2013, 2014, 2015, even from 2013 to 2017, it's 5 seasons. We really saw our presence on the e-platform expand dramatically, because when JD.com, which is another giant e-commerce company in China, which is Revel's Alibaba, when they saw Alibaba selling products, Northway Cherries, immediately contacted us. We want to work with you too, but we will offer you this, and that. So yeah, again, I mean, now today, everybody's doing every retailer in China, the whole Asia Pacific region, they all sell cherries online and deliver the next day or even same day delivery.
So, Keith, do you have plans during the next, let's say, 6 months before the wild cherry season begins all over again, to do any trade promotion activities in person in Asia and Taiwan, Hong Kong, Japan, Korea, or anywhere else in China? Is that part of what you need to do during the winter months, or?
Yeah. So after the season's over, I tend to start gathering reports for my growers. I was like, hey, this is how I spend your money this year. This is what your money bought in different separate markets, and start gathering success stories and also reporting to them what happened, why this market was down, etc., etc. And then next week, when November, that's when my team, and along with a group called Northwest Horticulture, they're the lobbyists, the policy makers for the industry. Together with them, they do a year-round back. I will work with them to go to DC, which I'm leaving on this Sunday. So this is our annual trip to go see our senators and over there and go show our face and report back to them. And on the money that we use, the federal money that we use under the USDA umbrella, under the Farm Bill. So unfortunately, we don't have a Farm Bill for the current Farm Bill expired this year, so we currently don't have one for the future. And I'm coming back on the 17th, and that could be the day that the government will be shut down. So there's a lot of uncertainty right now.
Oh boy.
Yeah, so we'll go there to go report our results on the hill, and December, that's when I kind of slow down a bit, and then January start over again. Start planning. December do budgets. Now and December do budget. And in January, that's when I start ramping up the different kind of campaigns, different activities, and where I can focus more, where I can reduce the spending of that. So yeah, every year is different. It's different than toys, because we can always manufacture the same toys. Cherries every year is different. Challenge is different every year.
Oh gosh, I lost it. I have to go back up and down this chat thing to find questions sometimes. But I was going to ask you if there are any special plane Cherry Express type of planes that go to Japan or Korea.
There are definitely not in Japan anymore. It used to be, when Japan was the biggest overseas market. Korea, we charter flights to Korea, but at least I did not find I didn't find a partner that who are willing to chip in the money to paint the airplane. So yeah, we do charter flights from Korean Airlines or China Airlines, even Polar Express, one of not Polar, sorry, Atlas Express, a private cargo company. Yeah, so we do charter flights.
Well, this is a little bit off of what you have to do, but we became quite interested in a variety of cherry products this year, like cherry ciders, cherry chocolate covered cherries.
Mm.
Any way that cherries are marketed here in our area, uh, partly because we're planning to have some fun with them in Milwaukee, but
Yeah.
also, just to sample some of these new cherry ales or cherry ciders that exist. One question I have is in China, are cherries used in baked goods or are they just eaten as a fruit snack?
Oh, we promote fresh. We part of my marketing mix. I do hire chefs, nutritionists to come up to try to use cherries as an ingredient. But most the consumers, if you ask, they will tell you that they like to eat it fresh, and so yeah, we promote eat it fresh. So
I see. Yeah. Well, I couldn't find any good packaged chocolate cherries for Halloween, but but I think there are some specialty chocolates that are a bit higher priced that are out there. And Anyway, I think we're drawing closer to the end of our program. I'm going to ask for any participants for any last questions. And if you have one that doesn't make it into this session, you can send us an email with your questions. We will be posting this program on our YouTube channel and referring to it again as other cherry activities happen here in our area. So anyway, Keith, thanks again for joining us today. I want to thank all our audience and partner organizations that know about this program that will spread the link that we post to their viewers that can come watch it maybe in the evening or after hours. But I really appreciate your taking the time and all of those who joined us during the lunch hour today. So thank you very much.
oh, anytime, it's my pleasure, and have a great weekend, I guess.
And with that, I'll let John disconnect as our webmaster, and we'll see you somewhere on the road in
Yes,
this
definitely.
fabulous airplane. Uh, and good luck with next year's season.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.